Hi everyone, today we're going to talk about the best products to keep the heat out. So our corporate office is in Phoenix, and at the time I'm recording this video it is the middle of July, so trust me, we're familiar with heat. 1:15 today, I believe. So anyways, whenever we talk about the products, we always include blind, shades, and shutters. So I'm going to talk about the best product first and then kind of size some other things up. So the best product would be our shutter. Now we have two different types of shutters. We have a wood shutter, and we also have a poly shutter. So shutters, as you see, it's a very thick material. So obviously, the thicker the material in the window, the better it's going to be to keep the heat out. Okay? So wood is a very good insulator, but the poly shutter is actually a much better insulator. They're both going to be over 1 inch thick. Okay? And the poly material is so dense that it actually does a better job than wood at keeping the heat out. Also, it'll never warp, crack, chip, peel, fade, or anything for as long as you have it and warranted not to. So for a really warm window, this is the best thing that you can do for sure to keep the heat out. But if you don't want a shutter, then we go into blinds and shades. Let me explain something to you first of all. On heat rejection, okay, the thickness of the material matters a lot, but also dead air space. What do I mean by dead air space? Dead air space is the distance from your shade to your glass. So if you have a deep window and you install the shade or shutter close to the front edge of the wall on the inside, leaving more distance between your treatment and the glass, that's going to create a better dead air space. So that will create a better insulating barrier between the treatment and your glass. So on that note, dead air space, if you install a blind, say that's a thin material such as a mini blind, okay, it's a very thin material, probably not going to do as good of a job as something thicker like a shutter, for instance, to keep the heat out. But if you did want a blind or shade, there's a couple different ones that are very good insulators. First of all, the faux wood blinds, okay, pretty darn good insulator. It's a synthetic material, so it's going to do a pretty good job at insulating, and it's fairly thick, so it's about 1/8 of an inch thick or so, but for a blind, that's a pretty good thickness, okay? You could also go with a wood. It's going to basically mirror the faux woods, but it's wood, so it's not quite as insulating as the faux woods are. If you wanted something that hangs in the window, you know, we do the vertical blind still, of course. This is a little bit thinner of a material, so it probably won't insulate quite as good as the faux wood blinds, okay? Surprisingly, a very good insulator is the solar roller shade. So this material, as you can see, this will still let you kind of see through. So while this might not give you quite as much insulating as a shutter or a faux wood blind, it'll still let you see through, as you can see my hand behind the fabric. So this will do a good job at blocking out a lot of the glare and the heat while still letting you see through the window. So this is probably about the middle of the road insulator, better than the mini blinds, not quite as good as the faux wood blinds, okay? By far the best insulator that we have for a shade or a blind, right after the shutter, are the honeycomb shades, or the cellular shades. Now the cellular shades, if you remember I talked about dead air space, okay? What happens with the cellular shade, when you have that in your window, that creates a honeycomb, and the air that gets trapped inside there will be at room temperature. So the room temperature air, and then you have the gap between the shade and the window, that will create extra dead air space. These are an excellent insulator, even in the light filtering fabric. So as you can see, this is a light filtering fabric. So this will still let some light come through, but it will do a great job at insulating for you. So they're available, as you see here, in a single cell. And then if you want even a little bit more insulation, you can go up into a double cell. So this will have 2 rows of honeycombs. So this is an excellent insulator. And in fact, if you do them in the room darkening material for a bedroom or somewhere you want dark, it'll even keep out more heat than the light filtering. So again, when you're considering treatments that keep out the heat, you want to consider how thick the material is, and then also the dead air space. And you can create that dead air space by the type of treatment you do, like the honeycomb shades, or mounting your treatments a little bit closer towards the wall and leave a little bit more room behind them and the window. If you have any questions about any particular product or anything on installing or measuring to create a better insulator, just give us a call or email our customer service department. Thank you.